what are you gonna spend every single day doing? Three years ago, there was a point in my life where I was trying to figure out what would it be like living on a farm. It's easy to go online and find all the daydreamy parts of living on a farm, but it's not always easy to find the, realistic expectations. And I try to show that here. But one of the things that I think gets commonly overlooked and might be the most important is, what's the day-to-day look like? And I don't just mean like a day in the life. I mean like realistic. What are your routines? What are your morning routines? What are your evening routines? Now, obviously there's things that you do weekly or monthly or yearly or all that sort of stuff. But I mean, what are you gonna spend every single day doing? And I think oftentimes you're gonna forget all the things you're doing on a daily basis until you have to write those down for somebody else. So if this is something you're interested in, follow along for a bit. I'm gonna show you what my evening routine looks like. And I'm gonna tell you about the morning routine because it's basically the same, but I actually do a little bit less in the mornings simply because I have to go to work. So I get everything knocked out in the evenings that I can. Also, one more thing, keep in mind that this is coming from somebody who works a full-time job, not farm related. Now, to start off, there's a little bit of context. Here we take care of a couple of different kinds of animals. We have cooney pigs, we've got chickens, and I've got a livestock guardian dog. And each one of them have their own routines, but mostly it's all the same stuff. They all need food, they all need water, and they just need to be generally taken care of. But your dailies, food and water. And if you've got egg layers, you gotta collect eggs. And if you wanted just the gist of it, you could stop watching now. But if you wanna understand a little bit more about what it actually looks like, follow along. All right, so first things first, we don't have water distributed around our property yet, so we have to collect everything on the front end of our chores. So, like I said, we have 3 different animals that we take care of. So what I'll usually do is I'll fill up a 5-gallon bucket with food. Of course, the scoops. I've got 3 5-gallon buckets of water because we have several pigs and it takes a lot of water to keep them watered, especially when it's hot like this is. And then I've got my bag of chicken feed here. So right now we only have our laying hens. During the parts of the year where we're raising out our butcher flock or our meat chickens, there's an extra set of chores, but for now we got food for the pigs, food for the chickens, and water for all the animals. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Now, honestly, the first thing I do almost every time I go out is love on my girl. Yes, I love on you. Because you're so good. Perfect. There you go. So for these pigs, give them a couple scoops of food, and then I'll go fill up their water here in a second. But these guys graze a lot during the middle of the summer. And as you can see, they've actually started grazing this area down quite a bit already. But we're getting ready to take them into the woods here in a couple of weeks, and they'll spend the rest of their summer in there, and they'll enjoy that because it'll be nice and cool. They'll have access to plenty of shade and lots of stuff to eat. Hey, pig. There you go. All right, the routine for the younger pigs here and mama is the same for the most part. A couple scoops of food, and their water barrel is actually on the other side of this overgrowth that the pigs are working on. And I can actually reach a water hose to that one. So I'll show you where it's at, but if you watched a recent video, you already know this. So over here in the chicken area, their water is up there because I can reach it with a water hose from the garden. And the pig water is also up here for the same reason. Now, for their food, the chickens are easy. There are several different ways. You can literally just throw food on the ground or get them some sort of feeder. And I use this one. I've got a few others that I'll use sometimes, but these are real easy. Just take these, fill them up once every couple of days, and they'll be good to go. Another part of the daily routine is collecting eggs. You can choose to do this either morning or evening, but since I have more time in the evenings, that's why we're out here now. You gotta look out, little. I need those. And that's pretty much it for the chickens. Food, water, and eggs. And the only additional thing I do to everything we've seen so far in the mornings is I'll feed Lucille. And that's it. 1 scoop of dog food. What's up, Molly? What's up, Molly? What's up, little ones? So that's pretty much my whole routine each day in a nutshell. I do that once in the morning, I do that once in the evening. Now there are a few things that you can do, and I want to share a few tips for how you can kind of streamline things. Because having only done this for 2 years, but at the same time saying I've already done this 2 years, you do this twice a day for 2 years, which means I've already done this routine or some variation of it over 700 times at this point. And so one of the tips is try to make things as easy as possible, because it's something you're going to do every day. Another reason you want to make it easy is in case you got to have somebody else do it. You want it to be easy because you're not going to find people that want to help you if it's difficult. And then of course you don't want to get burned out yourself. It's easy to get burned out when you're doing the routine, monotonous things. But the routine things sometimes are what, in my opinion, give you a little bit of peace, because it's a constant. If you're like me and you have to work, one tip that I'll give you is put as much in place in the evenings to make the mornings easier. Most people who work a normal, day shift kind of job, you're gonna have more time after work than before work. Unless you're a super early riser, in which case, by all means, do everything in the morning. Having already have to get up, at the crack of dawn every day, I tend to have more time in the evenings. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll fill up my water buckets in the evenings. I'll fill up my feed buckets in the evenings. I'll make sure I've got plenty of gas and all the things that I need so that in the mornings, it's real quick. And at this point, I've gotten my routines in the mornings down to 15 or 20 minutes tops. And if I'm really diligent, I can get it down closer to 10 minutes, because it's feed both set of pigs. If I was diligent and got everybody water the night before, then it's just that, it's feed the pigs, because the chickens have food that'll last several days. So if you stay on top of things, you can make your life really easy and make your mornings super easy, or flip it and make the evenings really easy. Your choice. And kind of one more thing, one more piece of advice is there's a concept called permaculture, and I'm by no means an expert in it. And frankly, my property isn't really set up in a supremely permaculture manner. But one of the ideas with permaculture is that you design your property so that it is not only self-sufficient in a sense, but it's also really easy, and you'll set up things so that they're close. So the things that you visit and do often, you make them closer to the house. And the things that you don't need to visit as often, you put them further away. And that's not always feasible in every situation. I've got a mama pig and a daddy pig, and I don't want more baby pigs, so I've got to keep them separate. And so I can't keep them close and separate. I just don't have the infrastructure for that. So there's some give and take, but our garden is set up that way. The chickens are set up that way. Make things easy is really the point of this. But if it's something that you're trying to get into, I highly recommend investigating, the concepts of permaculture, and at least be familiar with, some of the ideas for simplifying, how you manage things. And that's pretty much it. So I know there's more things that have to get done every day. There's things that I'm probably not even thinking about, and for other people, their routines are going to be different. Depending on your animals, depending on your setup, your routine could be a little bit different. But the basics are all the same. It's all basic necessities for the animals and making sure that they're well cared for. But if you have any other tips to make people's life easier, please feel free to share. I'm hoping that this is helpful to somebody. And if you've got ideas that'll also be helpful, by all means leave them in the comments. And if we get enough ideas, we may make another video about it, just showcasing some other people's input and how they make their lives easier. But with that, we are about to get rained on, so I'm gonna call it a day. But you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.